All right, we got the tank back, got the ring welded on it, so it's ready to go there. We're just going to throw it back in, bolt it up, put the pump in it, and then we kind of just have to put the relay in and wire it up, and she's ready to make some, at least move some methanol out of the back tank. And these 4 rubber isolators, they just move a little bit, so just a little bit of pushing around here. New threads in my finger, that's great. Voila. Yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. All right. So now we got the gasket. So again, that was kind of the big deal. This kind of worked out better that it didn't fit in there, because initially we had this ring that would go inside the tank, and then we had the gasket on the outside. So anytime you wanted to, you know, if you took the pump off, it had these 2 screws that held this ring in. But it really doesn't seem to me like nearly as it's not as efficient way to bolt everything together like just having that ring, the top ring on it is. So I don't know, we'll see if it leaks more or less, but I feel like this is a way easier way to deal with it than having this on the inside, especially if I wouldn't have already spent time drilling those 10 holes. This would have been way better. So make sure that's all good to go now. The ring's like a 1/4 inch thick, so that should give us the depth we need. Keep us off the bottom. Okay, well, that's great. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, we might have to clean that up. I don't know, it's close.
Need the hammer?
Yeah, no, I don't know. There it is. All right. And son of a bitch, didn't put my gasket in there. Never fails. All right, there we go. Like literally just fits the size of the hole, so there you go. They have these plastic washers on them that these are supposed to keep it from leaking, I guess. We'll find out. I can't remember if these have a torque spec or not, but I'm gonna look just to make sure, just in case. It's really doesn't seem like a big deal, but these gaskets, you can definitely easily like squish this gasket, a little plastic gasket down to where it's not a happy camper. So if they got a torque spec, we're gonna follow it just because. No torque spec, just do not over tighten, as it can break and damage the washers. So that's just a judgment call on how tight it is without breaking them. So let's see what we can break. All right, relay wise now, normally on a lot of these fuel pumps we use our buddy Dave at Nitrous Dave's. He's got a dual 70 amp relay, so on a lot of the twin pump deals we'll use those. It's a really nice complete unit. In this case I only needed 1 relay, but it needed to be 70 amp, just a single, so we did a little leash board style for this one. It's small, compact, really easy to use. Basically just uses a 40 amp, they call it like a J type. It's kind of the newer, bigger block fuses that are under the hood of your cars, like all the new stuff. That's the main fuse power. Then you have 12 volt power off the battery, the out going to the pump, and then we got a trigger and a ground. So it does come with some decent little instructions and stuff like that. So let's see. Yeah, it does kind of say what to do. That's nice. So since, whoops, there those go. So since we got the pump's already back here, we already have the battery back here, I'm gonna put the relay back here too. I think what I'm going to do, because this thing's not sealed up really, like it's not a weather tight kind of situation and we're in a pickup truck where weather can get to it, I think I'm just going to put it under the battery box and probably just, I got some double-sided tape or whatnot. I think I'm either going to double-sided tape it to this mount, because then it'll come off with the mount if I need it to. It'll fit in there underneath this. The wiring will stay right here. So none of the wiring will be very long on it, which will be nice. See how that works. Put this like that. Just hold it down for a few seconds because it's like, it's made, that tape is called PSA, pressure sensitive adhesive. So like it's either some amount of time, like the longer it's on there, it gets a little stronger, and or if you press on it for a little bit of time, the bond gets stronger quicker. So yeah, as you can see now, she ain't coming off, ain't going nowhere. So bam, good to go. Maybe another good thing about using the PSA or like that 3M tape versus just screwing it down. Like anything electronic doesn't really like vibration and getting kind of shaken around. So having that tape under there actually is going to give a little bit of cushion and kind of like a isolator, so that when everything's shaking or bouncing around, it's still got kind of a dampeningness underneath it. So probably works out like both things are good for it. Okay, so we're going to put a connector next on this. We like using a lot of times the Metro Pack stuff, like the 150s for the small gauge stuff, and I think they're the 280 series for the bigger stuff. We just already have the tools for them. They make nice clean connectors and terminations, so that's kind of what we're going to do on this too. Power, obviously this is ground, that's going to go right to the battery, and this is our trigger wire to turn the pump on full bore. So just driving around, or not under boost, basically we're going to run on the pump where I think it's like half, 50% or 30, 40, 50%, something like that. And as soon as we hit this yellow wire with 12 volts, it's going to go boom, 100%. You can also do a pulse width modulated situation, or some guys use TPS, 0 to 5 volt. It can do that, where 5 volts is everything. 0 volts means it's not activating, and then it interpolates in between. So 2.5 volts is going to give it like roughly 75%. To me, in most situations, we just want all of it, right? So we're not really messing around where we care about running at half speed or at least over driving around where it's at 30 or 40%. After that, if I'm in boost, I want all the fuel. I don't care about 75% of the fuel because I'm only at half throttle or whatever. So to me, the best way we typically do these is just hit them with 12 volts when you're under boost. Either it'll be like, in Holly, we'll set it up a lot of times as a TPS trigger, an RPM, and a boost number. So 1 pound of boost, 3,500 RPM probably, maybe a little bit less, and 50% throttle. It's going to always kick it on, and that's kind of how we're going to do it. We'll start. We got these little guys. Let's strip them off. These Amazon strippers are awesome. To make it like really quick and easy, this little red deal moves here. That sets how far you want to strip back, and then bam, done. We'll get our little weather seal, put him on there. Got that. Then we're going to do some of the weird sizes. I end up using a couple different ones. We don't have any real awesome set of crimpers here. I need to get a better set, but we'll do a couple different sizes. Make sure it's crimped down good. Okay, then you got to crimp the seal. All right, little pull test. Good to go. Let's do that to the rest of them. You can go out further so it's me and the job working.
I know, but can you see, like, you're not able to see very much.
Well, you're looking on this little screen too, and not on a TV, but they don't have to see every little part that I'm doing. Like, you showed them one, which is awesome. Now they can see the rest from a little further away. It's just to make it look prettier. In case, it'll deal with the elements better, whether it's just the weather or us running something across it or something stupid like that. This will help it out. These ones are in here. They don't have the locks on them. So there's there's type that has this lock, which is what we needed. This doesn't have the stupid lock. Well, it's already on there. we'll put there's a part that goes in the back, so I'll put that on to keep it locked in. But they were short on connectors. Everything's been on back order, right? So we had to get some of those at one time. Might not be the right one. Oh, it's some oddball one. Or it's for the other half. T-2. That's these other ones. I hate how they look. These look like crap. But that's what it is. Means we'll have to cut them away a little more of that. Now they're in there good. Let's cut away a little more of this. On this pump setup, they really want you to run like a big wire from the relay to the positive side of the pump. Like for this one, they say it's 6 gauge. I have some 8 gauge here. It's a really short run, so that's what I'm going to use. You know, probably you should always do whatever they tell you to do, recommended, but in this case, I'm not going to because it's not that long of a run. To me, this wire's only a 14 gauge wire right there. I got a really little run of wire here. We're on 14 volt battery, so we're charging at 16.5. I think we'll be in okay shape. So we took the water pump that was back here. We took it off. We're putting it on Uncle Sam. So I got to hook that back up. But I have a ground wire that's already here that was going to that pump. So I'm going to take it out right here and route it over there if it's long enough, hopefully. Let's see what we got here. We did all this pump deal on Rocky Mountain Race Week at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. After we got done racing and got everything freaking done for the day, we hurried up and wired it up and hooked it all up. And so it was a late night addition, this pump and relay deal here that was on it. I think we just tagged power from one of the fan relays and shared it for that water pump. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Magnet time, to the rescue. Go find them, boy, go find them. Down there somewhere. Got him. Shit, not bad idea to get that little washer guy off there too. Perfect. All right. Set them there for now. Get me a connector. Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Perfect. And we're going to use the rest of this 8 gauge probably to go from the battery to there. Knock that out too. Some real exciting stuff.
The heat shrink stuff is exciting. That's fun to watch.
Watching them melt.
Yeah.
Shrinker gun. Oh, exciting, exciting. Careful, you can easily melt it all down. Done that plenty of times. All right, that'll work. So bam, we can go right there. Oh yeah, it looks factory really. So I'm trying to remember. So the way this, so this relay can be used kind of either way, I guess. They kind of show it only, yeah, they show it as a ground trigger. I believe the way I have it set up in the ECU is where, let's see, a 12 volt trigger for sure on the first one. So I'm going to set it up that way, which means I'm going to run a ground wire just to the battery ground. And I'll take care of that. Then my 12 volt trigger from the ECU is going to be what kicks this on. All right, so after this is hooked up, all it'll leave left on the relay is my 12 volt activation for basically stage 1 of the pump, or the low speed setting they call it. Then I will have, I just got to run that from down there on the pump where it's at. And then I will, my secondary activation switch, which is actually on the same connector to turn the high on, I'm going to run those 2 wires up. One goes to here to hit that yellow wire. The other one will go here to activate the main part of the pump. And then the relay wiring will be all completed. This little screwdriver is too small. got them. All right, relay pretty much done. Now we just need a fuse and the trigger wire, which means we got to put the truck up in the air. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and hook this thing up so that if we happen to be down there, it doesn't pour a bunch of water on us. Nothing but the finest screwdrivers around here. There we go. You know, we didn't want to put ends on the radiator, which committed us to, if we were like on the road for the Rocky Mountain Race Week kind of stuff or any drag and drive, where if we would have welded, if we could take and weld A-end fittings right to the radiator and it would look a little nicer and all that. But if you're on the road and something happens to it and you have to go to a parts store, you know, you probably don't have the fittings and you don't have the welder and everything to fix it right on the side of the road. Where if we do this, that means that if we do have a radiator issue, we can just unhook everything and use any type of very generic radiator to throw in here and get us by. So these fittings are kind of cool from Azir. They're like 30 bucks a piece, so they're not real cheap, but they do work well. All right, now that we got everything up top pretty much done for the methanol swap, we got to figure out how we get the fuel from there up to the front. So the last year, basically the way we've been doing it with is 2 Holley 12-1800 pumps. So they're both twin pumps, so 4 total. We run off of just 1 pump when we're just driving it around or whatever, and then under boost and TPS and RPM, we turn the other 3 pumps on and run all 4 of them. So the way it is now, both of them come from my little tank. Both got pre-filters, feeds them, then they Y off together or Y into each other, and then go through 1 post filter. So I got a little bit of fuel left in the little tank up there, so I think I'm going to just crack these lines, take a quick E85 bath, and then we can decide what we're going to do here. I think we're going to take both pumps off and take this bracket off no matter what. We might end up keeping one of the E85 pumps at the end just to make sure that we have enough fuel to keep this thing rolling and happy on methanol, but hopefully won't. We can just use the one single 10 GPM, but worst case we're going to use one of these 2, but I'm going to move it to the back of the truck there. So I'm going to put the 5 pounds back there where we want it more than up here. So let's get these things off. Oh. It's awesome when you grab one of these fittings like this and go to loosen it, it immediately just runs whatever's in it right down your arm. So. All right, got both lines off and the tank's drained. We still got, I'm sure, some fuel in all this, so I'm just going to cut off. It's got some zip ties to hold the electrical and whatnot to the pumps there. Get rid of that. I'm going to pull these 2 lines off, and then we'll pull the pump assembly and the filters all off real quick and get that all out of the way, and then end up, I'll show you what we got electrical wise to run back there. We're basically trying to get our 2 trigger wires back there, 1 for our main pump and then 2 for our auxiliary other 3 pumps to come on. So let's get that.
Scared me. I think I got it falling on camera.
That drain for a sec. Got all these little plastic caps, like All Star. Everybody sells these things. They're really cheap and nice for this stuff, because hopefully if I have a couple tins in here and then I'll own the trailer or something, we can cap this bad boy off and it won't be trying to spill on us, but it's not looking good. Where the heck are all the tins? The box of caps is looking a little light right now, which means looks like we're taking another E85 bath. Oh. Guess there's only one in that one. I guess there's only one in both of them. All right, cool.
Imagine if Mom was filming this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, it'd be hilarious.
Bam, sucker, one down. Now we have to take out the little fuel cell. We got the lines are off of it. Now we just gotta take it out. As soon as I find the socket. see. I'm gonna try to probably take them out by hand because there's some riv nuts in the bed that we use to hold it in. And I believe after I took it out last time for Rocky Mountain, it was not as happy with me as it should be in life. So I'm gonna try it by hand to see if these will come loose. Otherwise, I think the riv nuts are just in there spinning. Yeah. All right, that one's gonna take some persuasion. That one too. Well, we're really batting 1,000 here. Oh, never mind. Didn't even put it in last time, or maybe I ripped it out. Pull the lines out with it. Wow, got 'em. All right, fuel system stuff. The old stuff's out. Guess we might need to find something to do with this kind of a hole we got in here. All right, the return line, I think we'll end up, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna run the fuel lines up over the top or down in the frame rail. The frame rails are somewhat tight in this, and there's already a bunch of like wiring on this side in particular going through it. So it may go up and over the top into the pump up there. We'll have to crawl around under there and see, so. All right, kill it.